record recording, for sure.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, this portion of it will be the Billy Snead roast. All right. I've been carrying this card here with me in my wallet since August. Mutation of Billy Snead and Babe Ruth. Billy Snead left the Biograph softball team and was recruited over to the Chakras team. Now, nobody's ever figured out why they did that, but the Biograph guys came up, and I think the chief architect of this strategy is sitting right there. The policy was such that the Biograph team, every time they played Chakras, all 3 times, they were going to walk Billy, not let him hit. That was just, well, what happened was, and I was there at these games, they walked Billy every time. All 3 games, Billy Snead scored the winning run that beat the Biograph for Chakras. The last game, which was the last game the Biograph ever played over at Chandler, Billy not only scored the winning run, but he made the put out that ended the game at home plate and slammed the ball down at home plate.
Well, wasn't really slammed.
Billy was on the Chakras team for 2 years and back to the Biograph, and that's the shirt Billy's wearing there. Billy's back.
Billy's back.
FBF 3, and now Billy is back.
The funniest one is, I just found out today that Terry and I have both been carrying this card in our wallet since last August. That's how sick minds think together, but it was like a tribute and a way to pray for Billy. Literally, every day, I'd pull out, my credit card, and this is where I keep it, right behind it, and I'd say a little prayer. That was something cool, but we got a million stories. I would tell one on Terry, and then I'll tell, if you look at that shirt that Billy's wearing, the butt crack is showing. Well, we got stoned one day, and Terry says, I want you to pose for this picture of Billy, and I think he just wanted to see the crack of my ass. So here I am. And so we were talking about movie stars, and Billy tells his story, and I got his permission to tell him in front of his wife.
Billy, the first one, this is a roast, and so there may be some insulting things said to you. And I know how you have a propensity to slap people when you get pissed off at them. So if you could restrain yourself a little bit, I would appreciate it. Roasting Billy is a really appropriate thing to do because I don't know of anyone who enjoys laughing at himself more than Billy Snead. And God knows he's had plenty of opportunities. I've known Billy for over 40 years, and picking the subject to roast him on is one of the toughest things I ever thought of. We've had a lot of good times. We had great times at the Biograph. We had great times at his house, at the beach, and playing sports. I'm not sure we remember half of the great times we had, but we did have a bunch of good times. While Billy makes every team he plays on a little bit weaker, he does make it a lot of fun. For example, in slow pitch softball, Billy went from middle infielder, that didn't work. Went from outfielder, that didn't work. Went to catcher. When he finally retired, coaches were still trying to find a position that Billy could play. He changed teams trying to find a position to play. That still didn't work. Billy went from playing point guard to playing wing to playing stand around guard. I believe Joe Herring said it best, and Billy loves this every time he hears it. Billy, you're not very coordinated, but you play real physical. He's pretty good at driving a cart, and that's about the extent of his confidence in golf. You needed notes for this. The biggest problem
And I think the last thing I remember about his ability in the outdoors was his fishing. Every year we'd go through, we finally get down through the rapids, and then we have a long coastal area to fish. And Billy never caught a fish. And all these years, and I really feel bad about that. But it couldn't understand why. And I told him that, Billy, once you've got the line out there, you got to put the cigarette down and reel it in. And it just never got it. But those were some of the best times of my life, Billy, and through all the things. But I hope to get you on the water sometime again soon. And well, I can step outside. But I enjoyed all of that, and he's quite the outdoorsman.
All right, well, we got a list here of some more names I'm going to go to of guys who said they want to tell a story. And if you thought of one you want to tell, we'll get to that. Everybody will have a chance. It's too bad that Dusty Thorne is here. You know, there's a guy who could describe Billy's vice grip defense and basketball and some of the other things. But we got a guy who can tell us what Dusty would say.
There were these two girls I grew up with in New Jersey.
Billy, it's been great playing with you all the years. I always depended on you as a second baseman. I knew I could throw it home and you'd put the tag on. Never any problem. And to Jack, to call you uncoordinated, I can't believe you have the best hand-eye coordination I have ever seen. If you remember that time on Hanover Avenue after we spent the day in Hanover, Hanover as a matter of fact at the racetrack, and we'd all had a keg, and you were out on my back porch, and you were lighting your cigarette, and the match kept moving, and your head kept moving, and as the match kept moving, your head kept moving, you followed it right off the end of my porch. Landed flat. Yeah, exactly. Right through the plastic, right down to the concrete, to the brick, and he got up. Are you okay, Billy?
I am Brent.
Are you okay, Billy? Are you okay? Sure, I'm okay. The next day, I had a little crutch holding him up. Billy, it's been great playing with you. Keep a good work up and stay strong. Thank you.
One time we're cruising along there, I think it was Rick Tatnall and I, and there's Billy and Hank in the other canoe, and Hank is casting. And he casts and it slaps up the side of Billy's head. And Billy turns around, looks at him and says, "Hank, what the fuck are you doing?" Sure enough, a few minutes later, Hank casts, and I don't know how he did it, but he hooked himself in the hand. And they can't paddle anymore. They got to pull over to the bank so they can get this hook out of Hank's hand. And Hank says, "Well, you guys do it. Here's the pliers." And so we were going to push the hook on through and then cut off the bar part, and then pull it back out. And Billy says, "Ugh." And Hank says, "Give me the pliers." So Hank gives him the pliers, and he pulls it through there and cuts it off and pulls it back out. And Billy turns to me and says, "Larry, you got room in your canoe for me?"
For the first 2 or 3 years that I was sort of involved with the Biograph group, I had gotten a bit of a reputation of being the guy who was most likely to pass out suddenly, to be a little bit obnoxious when drinking.
You, Ernie? No.
Terry said this didn't have to be truthful, and I guess I had met Billy before, but somewhere in late '77, early '78, Billy came into the center doors, which those of us who were so privileged were allowed to do. Comes into the center doors. It's a pretty crowded evening, as I recall. Got an overcoat on, you know, looks like a respectable person. Gets about 5 feet inside the Biograph and does a complete face plant on the floor. And for years after that, I was able, every time either my girlfriend or somebody else at the theater started giving me a hard time about getting a little out of control, I would just point to Billy and go, "I haven't gotten there yet."
Billy likes to read English novelists. Thomas Hardy, W. Somerset Maugham, Gip Dickens, or was that Charles Dickens? And after he reads one of these novels, he uses phrases like "perhaps." oneself. And instead of leaving a room, he likes to quit the room. And after a few weeks, he reverts back to his 6th grade education. I ain't got nose, things like that. And the last time I played golf with Billy, he was in more sand than Frankie Avalon. His game was so bad that he had to re-grip his ball retriever. But it's been my pleasure to know Billy for many years, and I hope to know him for many more.
Thank you, Dick.
Jill and Kevin were going on vacation, and we had the children. They left like 5 o'clock in the morning. At 5:30, I got a phone call. I didn't even hear it. The grandchildren heard it. They came in and said, "My mom's on the phone." I said, "What the hell does she want at 5:30 in the morning?" So I got the phone, and Jill said, "Mom, Kevin left his it was passport at home. And can somebody go to my house and get the passport and then take it to the airport?" So anyway, Billy's up by now, and he says, what's going on?" And I said, "Kevin left his passport at home." "Oh, God damn it!" And then I said, "But that's all right, I'll go get the passport." "Well, what I gotta do?" "You gotta drive it to the airport." "Oh, God! That's Billy.
Yeah, that was really nice. I mean, you know, I've been through chemotherapy for the past 6 to 7 months. This was 10 times worse. I don't like mixing up my old buddies and my young buddies too, younger buddies, because you know I've told a lot of lies to both sides of them, you know, and they're going to get together and start talking. You mean he didn't score 4 touchdowns?
Nobody believe that shit.
No.
We didn't believe it anyway.
The guys who, they were easy on me, really. I mean, they could have told a whole lot of other stuff that's going on in all over these years. But I really appreciate this, and I'm flattered to death by it. And I want to attribute this a little bit to Mark Twain.
Perhaps.
The rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated.